Okay. So now, today we need to discuss about the topic name is SD-WAN concept. Good, Simran. Can you hear me? Yes. If you have
Yes,
any queries,
yeah,
so you can send me on Zoom chat message. Okay.
sure,
Zoom chat is available. You can send hi message. Then we can, okay, discuss if you have any doubts. Okay. Any other doubts? So you can send me on Zoom chat message. So right now, today we need
sure.
to start. The topic name is SD-WAN. Before starting SD-WAN, must be clear the concept, uh, network concept. Why we use SD-WAN and which scenario we use SD-WAN, how to implement, how many types SD-WAN solution available right now, and which vendor will provide the SD-WAN solutions. Clear? And which type of protocol support, how to configure, how to deploy, how to troubleshoot. Clear? So we can discuss each and every points one by one. But before doing SD-WAN scenario, must be clear a traditional routing. Traditional routing means if you have any query about the traditional routing, so clear this one. So if we discuss a traditional routing, so in traditional routing, we are using some concept. If you are having a traditional routing LAN environment, a WAN environment, clear? Or if you're having a CAN environment, a campus area network, if you're having a private area network, so how to implement traditional routing? In traditional routing, we are using some routing concept. We are using some a switching concept. We are using some a security concepts, some quality of service we deploy, clear? And some a load balancer. LB means a load balancer we deploy. Now, in traditional routing, we are using a multiple types of devices. In traditional routing, devices. How many types devices we are using? So we are using router. Okay, router we are getting a two types. One is my enterprise router. One is my data center router. One is my service provider router. Okay, all types of router available in traditional routing. Depends on your design. Now, a second device we are getting a switch. This switch we are getting three types. One is my layer 2, layer 3. This layer 3 switch also known as a multi-layer switch. Okay, third type of switch we are calling again. This one is my data center switch, service provider switch, or enterprise network switch. Okay, if someone asking, sir, a difference in between layer 2, layer 3, or this one switch, what is the difference? Basically, in layer 2, in layer 3, we are getting a fast Ethernet port, we are getting a gig ports. These two ports available, but sometimes we are also getting SFP ports. SFP ports we are connecting which one? A fiber cables with SFP modules. These modules we connect on layer 2 switch, on layer 3 switch. And one more point available, PoE supported. But in data center, service provider, enterprise, if we are using switch, so we are getting a gig ports with a speed, a 10 GB, 20 GB, 40 GB up to. And we are also getting SFP ports, not a limited. In layer 2, in layer 3, we are getting a limited. But in this case, we are getting 4, 6, 8, and we are getting some cases 16 also. One more thing. This switch is PoE supported. PoE means power over Ethernet. If you want to provide your power for access point, IP phones, so this PoE concept will provide. Now, router switch is clear. Now, next device. Next device in traditional routing, we are using some of firewalls. This firewalls multi-vendor, Palo Alto, Fortinet, ASA, and multiple checkpoints we are using also. Now, this firewall we are using to do a filter, packet inspection, clear, or malware analysis. If you want to check a signature, So you can use. Now, one more device available. It's called a load balancer. Why we use load balancer? A distribute a data traffic. Okay, now basically in traditional routing, this devices depends on a network, users, clear, or devices. Which devices? End devices. If you are having a number of user, number of end devices more than 1000, then we need to use advanced devices. A router processing must be high, switch processing must be high, storage also we are need to extra. Clear? Now, in traditional routing, we implement routing concept. In routing, we discuss static routing we use, default routing we use, some EIGRP, OSPF, this protocols we use. Clear? Now, in routing, we are using ACL, we are using a route map, we are using a prefix list, we are using some policy-based routing as well. We are using a net concept. Clear? We are using DSCP concept in routing. Now, if you discuss about switching, in switching we discuss VLAN. Okay, access port. AP means access port. TP, trunk port. We are using inter-VLAN routing to communicate different VLANs. STP, RSTP, Ether channel. Clear? Some scenarios we are using VTP. Okay, in security, we implement port security. We implement DSCP snooping, IP source guard we are using, ARP inspection. ARP inspection we are using to inspect my ARP and multiple features. Okay, quality of service for a prioritization concept we are using. Load balancer, same purpose, distribute your data traffic. So in traditional routing, if we design, for example, this one is your small setup in traditional routing. This one is your router 1. This one is your router 2. Clear? And both router connected with, this one is ISP1. This one is ISP2. This kind of design we are getting. Now, those routers are connected with some firewall 1, firewall 2. And this firewall we are getting HA concept. Clear? Now, we are using after firewall a distribution layer switches. This side we are also using. Now, after distribution layer switches, we are connecting some access layer switch this side, access layer switch this side, access layer switch this side, this side. Now, this switch connected with this side, this one, and this one. And both distribution switch connected with a redundant links also. Now, this access switch connected with some of LAN user. This one also connected with some of LAN users. And this access layer switch connected with a physical server. This one is also physical server. But this side we are connecting a VM server. This side we are connecting some VM server. Basically, this server will provide, for example, FTP service. This one for my website. This VM will deploy with a multiple servers, multiple application server, database server. This VM will install a specific server. For example, this server for SIP purpose. Clear? Now, what will be happen now? Next, if in this design, we implement traditional routing scenario. So in this design, if we are using a traditional routing scenario, so how to implement configuration? So step by step we follow, because before doing software defined network solution must be clear traditional. In traditional routing, first point, you just need to go to a routers. Basically, this router will perform a routing task or packet forwarding. Clear? Or this router also select a path. Now, basically this firewall will do a packet filtering, deep packet inspection, or signature verify, websites you can block, unblock. Now, this distribution switch provide a connectivities plus VLAN concept plus a trunk concept plus a bundling for ether channel, plus this distribution switch also performing some routing case. Now, this access layer switches only provide a connectivities for which devices? End devices. And VLAN mapping only we done. VLAN map. And data forwarding, data receive on the basis of only layer 2. So for example, this one is your HQ, or you can say head office. This one is your HQ site, and you just need to connect multiple sites. So I'm saying for this one site, we are getting a branch number 1, and this one is my Delhi location. In this branch, we are getting a router. This router connected with a switch, and switch connected with end users, some biometric devices for attendance, some other equipments, IP phones also available. Now, how to connect this branch in traditional routing? In traditional routing, this branch connected with ISP, and ISP will provide a connectivity, some MPLS connection, some lease line connection, some broadband connection you can also use. So this one is connectivity. Sometimes we are getting a point-to-point connectivities. So basically, whenever this branch connected with my HQ, so this router must be configured first a routing, then path decision we need to set, then we need to define some firewall routes, some tunnel configuration we also done, some VRF concept, some IPsec concept to secure your connections, clear, secure your data, traffic in between HQ to branches. This switch also perform a switching task, but must be manually configured every branch. So in traditional routing, if you have 10 sites, or if you have 20 sites, 50 sites, you need to deploy. You need to connect with HQ. So how to connect in traditional routing? One by one, every branch we need to configure. So basically in traditional routing, we are getting a lots of issues, but a common issue, manual configuration, and each device separately processing each and every instance for routing, for switching, for security, for data forwarding, for packet filtering, for deep packet inspection. In traditional routing, we are also getting some issues. For example, if this HQ headquarters are connected with 10 sites, so this router must be having high-end CPUs, 2-core CPU, 4-core CPU, must be having storages maximum required 2 GB, 4 GB, 6 GB. Clear? Okay. This firewall, whenever whenever this firewall receive or send any data traffic. For example, number of 1,000 users traffic we are receiving on firewall 1 or firewall 2. So in this case, this firewalls separately run instance for each packets, each data. So again, this links must be having up to 10 GB. Again, this distribution switch, whenever receive 1,000 users traffic, 100 users traffic, so this distribution switch also getting CPU utilization is high, storage issues, bandwidth issues, clear? So in traditional routing, if you are using routers, if you are using a router, if you are using a switch, if you are using a firewall, if you are using a load balancers, so those devices having some planes. Those devices having some planes. Which type planes available? These planes will define how to work or how to handle data, how to process, and one more thing, how to forward, receive, and how to verify a packet types. Packet types. Basically, we are getting a two types packet, a routed packet and routing packet. Clear? Some other types of packet also available. So this plane will be defined. Basically, each device will maintain separately. For example, if we discuss planes, so we are getting first plane is a control plane. Then second plane name is a data plane. This plane also known as a forwarding plane. Third plane name is management plane. Fourth plane also available. It's called a service plane. Clear? Now, in traditional routing, each device have a separately planes. Now, what will be happen in control plane? Basically, control plane, this plane handle a routing related packets. Clear? Or you can say all types of updates handle. So inside updates, if you're having any query, inside updates, sometimes we carry protocol information, sometimes we carry network information, sometimes we are carrying path attributes, sometimes we are carrying some metric informations. Clear? So this updates will handle by a control plane. Now, so router have separate control plane, switch have separate, firewall separate, load balancer is separate. Now one more thing, data plane. Why we use data plane each device? This plane handle a traffic whenever a routed packet receive or device send actual traffic. If you want to upload, if you want to download, if you want to communicate, so this one will be handled. Why we use management plane? This plane will provide management option for device. Sometimes it's a GUI, graphical user interface. Sometimes CLI. CLI means command line. If you're having any doubt about GUI or CLI, if we can get access router in GUI or CLI, if we can get access switch, if we can get firewall, load balancer, it's only depends on your vendors. If vendor will provide a GUI or CLI option, so you can access. Now service plane. This one is very important. Everyone use in production network, enterprise network, data centers, service provider, and ISP sites. Why we use service plane? This plane handle a device information. Device information means if you're having a CPU related any issue, any information, if your CPU utilization high, low, overutilize, clear. If you are getting some bugs, so this will be handled service plane. If you are having any interface issue, if you are having any security issues, some bugs, some any attacks, so we can get informed immediately. If you have any hardware, any software issue, so we can get in service plane. For example, if you know about SNMP, why we use SNMP? To collect the informations. Yes or no? Each and every device. So basically, every device will maintain this place. For example, it's a small diagram. If you're having a router number 1, if you're having a router number 2, if you're having a router number 3, if you're having a router number 4, each routers connected with this type, for example, each router. Clear? Now, this router connected with switch and switch connected with some of LAN users. Okay. Now, this router also connected with a switch. This switch also connected with some of LAN users. This side we are connected with a switch 1 or switch 2. Switch 1 connected with a server. This side also server. And this side are connected with some access points, some other devices, management users. This one is my management users. Now, this router connected with my ISP side. So this one is a small diagram. For example, one more thing. This one is my X network, or you can say this one is my this one side. We are using 10.xx network, clear? And this side we are using 11.11 network. Okay, this side we are using 12 network, clear? And this one side we are using 13 network. Okay. Basically, in between routers, we are also using some networks. So in traditional routing, we already done how to assign IP designing concept we already done. If you already complete CCNA, CCNP part, so you already have some basic scenarios, how to design IP address, clear, in enterprise network. So in between router 1 or router 2, we are using 10.1.12.0 network. In between R1 or R3, 10.1.13.0, 3 or 4, 10.1.34.0, R2 or R4, 10.1.24.0. In between router or ISP, we are using 12.0.0.0 slash value 30, 12.1, and this side 12.2, ISP side. Now, if I'm saying this LAN users want to access this network, how to access? We need to perform routing. For example, if I'm performing EIGRP, if I'm performing OSPF, if BGP, so this protocols will use some metric concept to calculate best path. EIGRP, OSPF metric is a different. BGP having some path attributes. Local AS, next hop, self-advertise, AS paths, a multiple attributes you can elect. But for example, this one is my 10 GB link. This one is 1 GB. This one is 1 GB. And this one is a 10 GB. So in this case, router 1 trying to get a best path to reach this network. Which one is my best path? R1 to R3, R3 to R4, 10 GB, na? So we are getting this one is my best path. After run dual algorithm, we are getting this one. This one side is my backup path. So basically how to get best or backup after exchange updates. Yes or no? And updates will carry 12 dot, 10 dot, 11 dot, 13 dot networks. Clear? Now, router one say I'm sending some users traffic for this server, this server. No one. After some times, basically this link, this one link goes down. So router one elect this backup path to forward your traffic. But if your link goes down, then devices will again calculate, again exchange network information. Clear? So in this case, this router maintains separately control plane, separately data plane, and separately configure a routing. You just need to access router one and then run the command router, AIGRP, then AS number, then network command, then neighbor command. You need to run this commands each and every router, and each and every router will exchange updates. Each and every router will forward your traffic, receive your traffic. So control plane, data plane, management plane, each routers will maintain router 1, router 3, router 4. If control planes, some route goes down, then control plane again learn the information again. So that condition, all routers will get a topology changes. So in traditional routing, if you're having a 10 routers, 5 switches, 2 firewalls, or if someone route goes down, then again exchange. If you want to connect multiple sites, you need to configure some information on 10 routers, some information on 5 switches, some information on 2 firewalls. So in traditional routing, we are getting a complicated because each and every device required high-end CPU, high-end bandwidth interfaces, extra memory to store extra information. In this 4 router, if we are receiving only 4 routes, 4 network information, so no issue. But in enterprise network, if we are receiving a 10,000 prefix or 10,000 network information, then this routers must be having extra memory to store information. Now, after traditional routing, we just need to move on SDN concept. In a traditional routing, we are getting some issues because we required high-end devices to perform traditional routing because each device maintains 3 planes: control, data, management, and service. So we just need to move on SDN. Before SDN, we are also getting iWAN technology. But this technology getting some issues. So that is the reason we are not using iWAN technology. After iWAN technology, we introduce SDN. SDN means it's a software defined network solution for enterprise network, for data center network, for service provider network, for ISP network also. Clear? So this solution available. Basically in SDN, we are getting 3 types of technologies. But before doing technology, must be clear. SDN will provide by a multiple vendors. But we discuss only which one vendor? Webtail. Okay. So this vendor we are using. In 3 types of technology, we are getting a which one? First, second, and third. First is my SD access. Which one? SD access. Then we are getting ACI concept. Then we are getting SD-WAN scenarios. Must be clear, SD access first. I think last time we are getting some design now. So just give me 1 second to verify design is available or not available. Yeah, this one is available. Very good. So I just need to remove traditional routing because right now traditional routing we are not discussing. Now we discuss software defined network. For example, In this design, we just need to implement SDN concept. So how to implement? First solution is SD access. SD access only work on LAN environment, a local area networks. So in local area networks, we can configure distribution switches. We can manage by access switches. We can manage by some end devices, servers. So in SD access concept, we are using this person. So will be handled by this one part. Which one person? SD access. This one also integrated, clear, with this one person. If you're having some basic knowledge about ICE, so we can use, okay? Now, second solution, we just need to follow ACI. ACI will implement in data centers. In data centers, we are using some other concept, but ACI will use some epic scenario. This one is type of controller we are using in data center. Now, one more type of technology available. Which one? Which one is third type of technology? This technology called SD-WAN. Why we use SD-WAN? Basically, SD-WAN will handle your WAN network. WAN network means we can manage your WAN devices. This device also we can manage. This one, this one. So this part managed by SD-WAN. So we discuss only SD-WAN concept. In SD-WAN, we are calling a software defined wide area network. In SD-WAN, we are using some controllers. We are using some managed devices. Clear? We are using some analytics device also. So this type of devices we are using. Now, one by one, basically why we use these controllers? This controller will help to maintain your control plane separately, data plane separately, management plane separately, service plane separately. So in controllers, we can get only some types of controller we are using in real time. For example, first controller, we are using vManage. It's a short form of VM. Its name, vManager. This one is only for management plane purpose, only management plane purpose. This controller will handle. Now, second controller is a vSmart. So why we use vSmart? If you are getting any updates, any routing, any policy, any path manipulation, any filtering, any load balancing scenario, so we can perform on vSmart. So vSmart will handle your control plane. This controller will handle control plane separately. Now, next device. Next device is vBond. Basically, this one controller is new. It's called a vBond. This one will maintain authentication concept, or you can say orchestration plane, OP. Clear? Now, in managed devices, we are using same routers, but this routers we are calling iOS X is supported. Must be having this one iOS. Then you are calling a managed devices because this type of iOS support SD-WAN concept. Clear? SD-WAN. So this routers will maintain DP. DP means your data plane. Clear? Which one? Data plane. Analytics we are using for monitoring purpose. Separately, you can analyze your networks. Separately, analyze your data traffic flow. Separately, analyze your device information also. Now, one more thing we need to discuss those controllers we can deploy physically or virtually or cloud platform. Okay, but if you want to deploy physically, so must be have UCS type of server. If you want to deploy virtually, so you can use VMware XIS. If you want to deploy a cloud platform, so support AWS, Azure, Cisco Cloud, or you can attach with your private cloud as well. Clear? But must be clear one thing for controller, only for controller. If you onboarding your controllers, must be having a license. This license we can get from Cisco. Okay, Cisco will provide this license, and this license will help to onboarding your controllers or managed devices as well. Okay, this license concept you can perform by enterprise, a CA server concept also. CA server means certificate authority server. So this server will install by Windows, a server operating system. If you have it, then we can perform. Now, one more thing. Managed devices, we can use physically, we can use virtually, or virtually you can say cloud-based as well. But physically, we are using some ASR series, some ISR series, some CSR series also. Clear? Now, some VH we are using. VH means it's a Viptela managed devices. Clear? This Viptela managed devices we are using, but this managed devices EIGRP not support. Clear? So he can support OSPF, BGP, MPLS, static routing, default routing, VRF, tunnel, and multiple lots of things. But EIGRP not supported. Now one more thing. This managed devices depends on requirement deploy. If you are having number of users or devices are limited, so we are getting a different types of managed devices. Some managed devices with Wi-Fi connection. Some managed devices we are getting a extra CPUs. Clear? Some managed devices we are getting extra ports with 10 GB, 20 GB. Clear? With extra ports 2, 4, 6, 8. Some managed devices PoE concept supported. Clear? Now, some managed devices power supply, extra power supply for redundant RPS, redundant power supply concept. Now, this controllers, if you deploy, so this controller will maintain your control plane, data plane, management plane, and service plane. So this controller also having some CPU, RAM, storage, some interfaces information. Clear? Some other information also available. Clear? So CPU, RAM, storage, interfaces depends on your requirement. If you are having a small network, so you can use unlimited. But if you are doing a lab, so device must be having, your laptop or server must be having up to 128 GB RAM with 8 core processor or 16 core processor. Up to 128 GB RAM and with SSD, minimum SSD required 1 terabyte in your laptop, in your server. So in this case, how to perform lab, how to discuss this SD-WAN scenarios. So basically we are having some servers. In our servers, we are using 256 GB RAM, 180 core processor, and storage is 2 terabyte SSD and normal hard drive 500 GB. So we can easily perform, but this server will get a time duration. If you want to access this server, so time duration. In this server, we can perform complete SD-WAN labs. We discuss 3 labs, lab 1, lab 2, and lab number 3. Lab 1, we discuss onboarding, license concept, connectivity with under relay protocol. Which one? Under relay protocol. If you are having any confusion with under relay, so we can discuss, no worry. Okay, in lab 2, we license managed devices. Managed device, license, connectivity, clear? And then we discuss one more thing, route exchange process. We discuss 2 types of route, V route or VRF route. We discuss. And we discuss in this lab 2, VPN concept. VPN number 1, VPN 0 and VPN number 512. Okay. In lab 3, we discuss OMP concept, TLOC concept, tunneling concept, clear? Templates, we discuss. Okay, after done lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, we start advanced part. In advanced part, we discuss, you can say we discuss policy, filtering, path manipulation, clear? Load balancing, some application aware routing, deep packet inspection, DIA, direct internet access. And then we are also discuss one more thing. We discuss net concept, TLOC extension. Then we discuss a very important cluster concept. Then how to back up, how to upgrade or restore scenarios. Basically only 3 labs. In lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, we discuss complete SD-WAN. Then after complete your SD-WAN, you just need to download lab 4 and do your self-practice. This one lab is different with multiple vManager, multiple vSmart, clear? With multiple managed devices, multiple sites, clear? Redundancy, load balancing, path manipulation, you just need to perform. So this one is your complete SD-WAN scenarios, why we use and which one scenarios we are using SD-WAN. We can discuss SD access, we can discuss ACI, but it's a different type of technology. We just need to follow only SD-WAN for WAN. If you are using a SD-WAN, so no need to use high-end routers. Basically, control plane, data plane separately maintained by a controllers. So if you're having a normal router, with CPU, 2 core, with a storage 1 GB, with 10 GB links, so no worry. You just need to connect with your vManager, connect with your vSmart, and attach with your vBond. Okay. If this branch connected with ISP, so first thing, this branch must be know this person. Basically, this person authenticate this managed devices. Clear? After authentication, this vBond will share 2-person information, vManager, vSmart. And then this managed device will maintain separate sessions. And now, if this vanished device sharing thousands network informations, for example, 1,000 routes. So no worry. This vanished device first send vSmart, and this vSmart will carry and will handle. No need to use this CPU. And after handling, this vSmart will share. Clear? In a specific VPN, specific VRF, specific tunnel with a secure connection. Some IPsec concept. Clear? So it's very important. Now, if you want to manage multiple branches, so no worry. Just go to vManager. This vManager will provide this vanished device, single dashboard. Clear? Single dashboard. In this dashboard, you can get access GUI, you can get access CLI. If you want to manage, if you want to troubleshoot, you just need to connect your branch router with ISP and provide only vBond information. No any other information required. No routing, no switching, no path manipulation, no best path selection. Only connect your vBond. Then automatically we can use. Okay. Now, one more thing you just need to follow. Basically, we can also use ZTP concept. ZTP concept means a zero touch provisioning. This one feature we are also using. We are also using PNP concept. Okay. So both concepts we can also discuss, ZTP or PNP. Okay. Take your time, go through this video. We can meet again next session and we discuss some advanced part. Okay. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone. Good Simran. Topic. No. So in yesterday topic, we discussed some introduction part. Which one? Which type of scenarios in traditional routing? In day one, we discussed first traditional routing method. This one. In traditional routing, we are using routing concept, some protocols, some features, some scenarios, some switching concepts, switching protocols, security features, quality of service, load balancing, path manipulation, multiple things in traditional routing. Basically, traditional routing we are using to connect a local area networks, wide area networks, campus area network, private area network also. Now, one more thing. If you're performing a traditional routing, so we require some networking devices, inter-networking devices, router, switches, firewall, a load balancer, access point, and multiple things. Now, if you are using a router, switch, firewall, or load balancer, so each device separately use some specific features, some specific protocols, some specific concept also. So now in traditional routing, if I want to deploy in enterprise some routers, so we are using enterprise series router. If data center, so we are using a data center router, data center switches. If service provider side, so we are using service provider routers, switches, because data center and service provider side routers or switches will get extra CPUs, 2 core, 4 core, 6 core, 8 core processors with our RAM, 2 GB, 6 GB, 4 GB, storage, flash memory. Also, we are getting expandable, external memory also we can use, internal also we use. Some interfaces we are also getting, Fast Ethernet, Gig, SFP, PoE. So this ports is available. Now, in traditional routing, if you want to connect your HQ first, if you want to deploy your head office, in your head office, we are getting a router, firewalls, distribution switches, access switches. So all layers, we need to implement some protocol, features, concepts. Then in traditional routing, if you want to connect your branches, So this branch must be configured first on router. Routing, we just need to define path. We need to create tunnel. We need to configure VRF. For secure your data transmission, we are using IPsec. So if you're having 100 sites, 20 sites, 50 sites, 10 sites, so we need to configure manually one by one every branch. Manage devices. Manage devices means routers, switches, one by one. Now, in traditional routing, if you are connecting sites, so we are getting a cost will be high because branches must be connected via ISP, and ISP will provide a connection with HQ. If you connected your HQ with branches, so we are configuring some tunnel. So that is the reason we need to purchase some lease line internet connection, MPLS, point to point, 4G, 5G connections, broadband connections. So in this case, in traditional routing, we are also getting one more issue. In traditional routing, each devices, router, switch, firewall, or load balancer, we are getting some planes. This plane will define how to work, how to handle your data, how to process your data, how to forward receive your data, how to verify packet information, which one type packets we are receiving, routed packet or routing packet. Okay, now what is the difference in between routed packet or routing packet? We also discussed. Right now, how many types plane available? We are getting control plane, data plane, management plane, and service plane. Now, control plane means this plane handle a routing related packets. Routing related packet means if you are sending network information, if you are sending path attributes, if you are sending some specific information, for example, switching related protocol, STP, DTP, VTP, RSTP, if you are using DSCP, some updates we are also using now. So all types of update handled by control planes. Now, data plane means whenever users send actual traffic, users send routed packet. In routed packet, users send a source IP or destination IP, not any information. But in routed packet, source IP, destination, but routing packet, we send source IP, destination IP, plus some networks information will carry, some protocol information will carry. So right now, routing or routed packet is different. Management plane. This management plane will carry management packets. We are sending some management packet via CLI. If you are configure, if you manage your device, so we are getting option GUI and CLI. Service plane means if your device getting some CPU information, interface up, down, any hardware failure, software issue, some bugs. So we are getting SNMP concept. This SNMP person will collect all logs from your devices and then store in your local database. Now, in enterprise network, if we are using this design, we are using router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4. How many routers available? 4 routers. Router 1 connected 10 dot network. Router 2 connected with 12 dot with ISP. Router 3 connected 11 dot. Router 4 connected with 13 dot. Now, in this case, if router 1 want to exchange on network information with other routers, so we can use BGP, EIGRP, OSPF. But whenever we run those protocols, so devices will form neighborship and devices will exchange updates. In updates, will carry all network information. All network information, why we carry? Because we need to exchange topology, LAN or WAN network information. So basically, if 10 dot want to communicate with this router for 12 dot network, so which one is best path? How to get best path? For example, router 1, router 3, router 4 connected with 10 GB speed link. Router 1, router 2 and router 4 connected with 1 GB. So which one is best path? 10 GB links. So basically router 1 getting a best path to reach R4 side via R3. If best path goes down, then routers again exchange updates for topology because we are getting a new topology. We are using a backup path. So in this case, each router will maintain separate control plane, separate data plane, separate management plane because we need to configure each and every router this command, router EIGRP, then AS, then network, then neighbor command. So in this case, in traditional routing, we need to plug in high-end routers with high-end CPUs. Processing will be high. Clear? Now, in SDN concept, in SDN concept? SDN means it's a software defined network solution. This solution will provided by a multiple vendors, but we discuss only Viptela solution. Okay, this SDN can be supported by enterprise, data center, service provider, ISP, and also. Now, how many types of technology available in SDN? We are getting a three types of technology: SD access, ACI, or SD-WAN. SD access will run on which one side? LAN side environment, distribution switches, core switches, access layer switches, or end devices. So SD access will maintain. ACI we are using for only data center concepts. So this one is enterprise network. So we are not getting any data center device. Now third is SD-WAN. SD-WAN will use a WAN devices. WAN device means router and firewall. We can manage. Now in your session we discuss only SD-WAN. SD access is different part. ACI is different part technology. Now in SD-WAN, basically we are using some controllers, we are using some managed devices. So why we use controller plus managed devices? Controller will maintain separate planes. For example, if you are having a vManager, so vManager will maintain management plane. If you are having a vSmart, so vSmart will maintain control plane. vBond, so vBond only maintain authentication plane. Clear? Now one more thing. Managed devices means this type of devices send and receive your data traffic. So basically managed devices, we are getting a multiple types. Right now this managed device is also known as a router and maintained by only data planes. But those routers must be support iOS XE. This one is operating system for supported by SD-WAN features. If you're having iOS XE on your routers, so we can use as a SD-WAN managed devices. Now, this controllers available physically or virtually, and you can deploy those controllers on cloud platform, AWS, Azure, Cisco cloud, your private cloud as well. If you deploy virtually, so we are using VMware XIs, clear? We can use, but whenever we deploy, those controllers must be verified CPU, RAM, storage, and interface information. Depends on your sites, depends on your traffic, depends on your network topology. Clear? Now one more thing. This controller must be licensed. Okay? Licensed by whenever we are doing an onboarding process. So license we can receive by Cisco, and we are using enterprise CS server as well. Clear? Now, one more thing. Managed devices available physically or virtually, but virtually we are using for only lab purpose. In physical concept, in physical concept, we are getting two types of vendor. We discuss in your syllabus. One is my VH. VH means Viptela managed device, and this one is series from Cisco. So we are calling CH devices. Which one? This one is my CH, Cisco Edge devices. CSR series, ASR series, or ISR series. Those managed devices series we can use as a CH devices. Now, one more thing. In your labs, if we are performing a lab, if we are doing a onboarding, so we are having some servers. This server having 256 GB RAM, 180 core processor, 2 terabyte SSD. We are using virtual processors. Okay, this one is virtual server. Now, 500 GB normal hard drive, but 2 terabyte solid state drive. SSD is most required in SD-WAN. Okay, now in SD-WAN we discussed three parts in lab: lab 1, lab 2, lab 3. But in lab 4, this one is your homework. After done your course, you need to practice on lab 4. Now, one more thing. This one is vManager, vSmart, vBond, or authentication person. Okay, right now for authentication, we are using a vBond and ZTP or PNP as well. ZTP means zero touch provisioning, and PNP means it's another feature to do a licensing for authentication. But Cisco must be having a Cisco some features. Right now, vManager will use a GUI or CLI single dashboard. vManager available with a single dashboard. vManager available in GUI or CLI, but vSmart, vBond always available in CLI. We can access only single controller in GUI, vManager. Clear? Now, this router, first we need to connect with my vBond. This branch also must be connected with my vBond. This branch only provide connectivity with vBond. vBond must be reachable publicly if you want to connect your sites. If vBond publicly reachable with IP with FQDN. Anyone know FQDN means? FQDN. Good Simran, Douglas, any idea? FQDN means? If you have any idea, send me on Zoom chat. What is the meaning of FQDN and what is the difference in between IP or FQDN? FQDN means fully qualified domain name. IP means normal numerical values, but FQDN with alphabetic. For example, viptela.com. For example, abc.org. Clear? So this kind of domain name, fully qualified domain name, we can define on my branch router. If branch router successfully reachable with my vBond, so branch router, managed router will authenticate by vBond. This vBond having some list. It's called white list. In this white list, in vBond, we are getting a white list. In white list, vBond will get serial number, chassis number, some OTP concept, one-time password as well. Clear? Or you can say it's also known as a token number. After authenticate, this one is authenticate managed device available on my branch. Then vBond will share some information. Which one? vManager or vSmart? Which one is vManager? Which one is vSmart? After receiving branch managed device, vManager or vSmart information, then branch router will communicate with vSmart or vManager. Then vManager will add this branch router in my dashboard. If add dashboard, then we can access GUI and CLI. And then we push the configuration on my branch. Clear? And if I want to enable some routing protocols, so vManager will help. After enabling routing protocols, this branch router directly communicate with vSmart to exchange network information, to exchange updates. Clear? Now, this one part we discuss in lab 1, our day 1 SD-WAN. Now, today we need to discuss about a day 2. This one is day 2. In day 2, we discuss first thing. Which one? A controller theory part. How many types controller available in my SDN solution? We must need to discuss. Then we discuss advanced part. In advanced part, we discuss, you can say we discuss how to do virtually onboarding and which type of configuration required, which type of CPU, which type of RAM, how many interfaces, which one model number, managed devices we are using, we need to discuss. Clear? Good, Simran, Douglas. Now, so in SDN, just give me 1 second to change the color. Now, now verify in day 2. In day 2, we discuss first thing. In SD-WAN, we are using some controllers. So must be clear controller's name. We are getting first controller is which one? vManager. Second controller is vSmart. Third controller is a vBond. Okay. This fourth person is we discuss, but this one is not available in your syllabus. We can use. It's called vAnalytics. we can use, but right now this one for only monitoring purpose. Now, why we are calling a vManager, vSmart or vBond? In SD-WAN, we discuss which one solution? Viptela solution. That is the reason we called a Viptela. Now, we need to discuss about some short theory about controller. vManager will maintain a control plane process, complete control plane process. vSmart will maintain, awesome. vManager will maintain management plane purpose. vSmart will maintain control plane purpose. vBond will maintain authentication concept, or you can say orchestration plane. Now, in SD-WAN, we are also getting some WANage. We are getting two types of WANage. One is my VH device and one is my CH device. Both are maintained data plane or also known as a forwarding plane. So plane last time we already clear what is the meaning of management control data. Now, one by one, each controller, which scenario we require. So first controller we discuss SD-WAN, first controller vManager. But before discuss controller, must be clear SD-WAN fabric. SD-WAN fabric. How to get SD-WAN fabric? So right now we need to create a small diagram. So this side we plug in vManager. This side we plug in vSmart. This one is vSmart. And this side we are getting a vBond. Now, we are getting some ISP. For example, this one is my MPLS connection. This one we are using a 5G LTE connections. Sometimes we are also using some a lease line connections. Now, how to connect it? Now, we are using this site, for example, a distribution layer switch. Clear? And distribution switch will connected with this side, or this side. We can use router as well. If you want to use router, because net translation we need to perform. So switch not capable to do a net translation. So right now we are using some routers. So we are using this side router 1, this side router 2. Now router 1 connected with lease line with MPLS, router 2 connected with MPLS or 5G connections. This router is connected with my switches. This one is also connected with a switches. Now switch connected with vBond separately, vManager separately. For redundancy purpose, we connect switch 1 to switch 2. One more cable we are using. Now, in between vSmart, we configure this type of connectivity together, and vSmart 1 connected with switch 1 and vSmart 2 also connected with this switch 1. Now, we are getting some branches. This side, branch A. This side we are getting a branch B. This side we are getting branch C. Now, some routers also available, managed devices. So this side a router, this side router, this side router. Now we are getting some switches, some LAN connectivity. This side switches, some LAN connectivity. This side switches, some LAN connectivity. Now, how to connect branches now? A very simple method we are using now. Branch A say, my router connected with a lease line connection. Branch B say, I'm connected with MPLS connection. And branch C connected with my 5G connection. Now, this one is complete SD-WAN fabric. This one. We are calling SD-WAN fabric. In SD-WAN fabric, we are getting first controllers. Second, we are getting managed device. Third, we are getting connections, ISP. So how to get connectivities? Whenever branch A want to get connectivity with my HQ, in this HQ, this one is my HQ. How to get connectivity? This router must be reachable on my first device. Which one? This VBond. And this VBond must be reachable public. So in this router, we need to do only one task, IP address. We need to define path, or you can define static, default. You can use any routing protocol, no one. If you done IP address, if you done path, so only try to do ping task with VBond. If communication is reachable, that means done. No need to do any other things on branches. Same thing on branch B we need to do. Same thing on branch C we need to do. If your communication is done, now next process will start automatically. Which one process? Now in next process, this VBond will verify from a whitelist. In this whitelist, we provide some authenticate devices information. Authenticate device means we need to cross verify the serial number of this managed device, a chassis number of this managed device. Clear? Some license we need to verify if available or not available. If this branch is valid, then VBond will share this branch. Which one information? vManager and vSmart information. Whenever this branch managed device will get a vManager and vSmart information, then this managed device trying to communicate with vSmart or with vManager. Now you need to go to directly vManager, and now we need to done next task. This one is my first task. This one is my second task performed by automatically VBond, and my third task on vManager. vManager will do configuration. If you want to do any configuration for protocol, for routing related, for security related, for upgrade task, for backup process, for restore process, clear, for policies, if you want to create, only create. If you want to done application aware routing, if you want to do deep packet inspection, if you want to configure net, clear. So you can configure by a vManager. If you done on vManager those things, now next step, this vManager will share those information on this branch. This branch managed device will receive all information in which one format? Templates. This information carry by a template. We discuss what is the meaning of template. But for example, this template is this one box. In this box, we can put all configuration, and this box will receive by this branch. After receive each and every configuration, then if this managed device, this branch managed device want to share, for example, this 10.1.1.0/24 network in routing protocol. So which one first receive this update? This network information managed device will share with vSmart, and this vSmart will share with another vSmart, and this vSmart will possible to share with this branches. So right now we need to exchange with directly? No. Which one person help to exchange updates? Gursimran, Douglas, vSmart. vSmart will help to exchange which one process? Update process. And this one person also exchange policy informations. Clear? We can create policy, but exchange by vSmart, propagate by vSmart. Sorry. Now, so how many controllers we use? vBond, vManager, vSmart. Now, why we use two vSmart? For example, if after some time this vSmart will get any hardware failure, software issue, any a cloud issue, so this one goes down. So this one is same to same a cluster. Cluster means we are using two-person, primary, or you can say active. But only which one cluster we are using active? vSmart. If you are having a vManager, or if you want to make cluster concept with vManager, so we are getting primary, secondary. Primary means active, or which one? Standby. Only vSmart will accept active role. vManager always accept active, standby. That means one vManager primary, other vManager is secondary. If primary goes down, then automatically this standby will convert into active. Clear? But in vSmart cluster, if active vSmart goes down, so another active is available with same information. So we are getting a downtime is, we are getting any downtime in my networks? No. This thing is clear? Now, next part. We need to discuss about theory first. vManager. Good, Simran. This thing is clear. Do girls, the short theory clear? SD-WAN fabric. In SD-WAN fabric, how to connectivity be done? Okay. Now, this controller management plane, and one more thing. This controller available in virtual form. Anyone know what is the meaning of virtual form? You can deploy on virtually. Virtually means you can deploy on cloud. You can deploy on VMwares. Clear? Now one more thing. Real time, you can say this controller will perform management task and configuration also done by vManager. Which type of configuration? This controller must be get connectivity with which one controllers remaining?
vSmart
Which
and
one
vBond.
controller is remaining? Anyone know?
vSmart
After
and
vManager,
vSmart
must
and
be get
vBond.
connectivity with vSmart and vBond. If connectivity available, then vManager can do a configuration via GUI for those controllers. Clear? Now one more thing. With the help of vManager, we can manage centralized all manage devices and controllers. Controller is same, vSmart and vPod. Now one more thing. vManager help to do provisioning or license for controllers plus manage devices. This one is single plane of device. You can discuss. Now, vManager also help to do troubleshooting task, T-shoot, configuration, or template tasks. Yeah. So these tasks we can perform by vManager. Now, one more thing we need to discuss for vManager. One more thing. If single vManager available, then possible to manage 500 to 1500 managed device. Clear? It can be support. Now one more thing. If network engineer perform a cluster task with a vManager, then primary, secondary concept. This thing is clear? Good, Simran, Douglas. Primary, secondary concept. You can say primary means active, secondary means dear, standby. Now one more thing. After vManager, we need to discuss second controller. Second controller name is vSmart. This controller is very helpful. Basically, you can also write down one more thing. vManager create policy. vManager also help to do upgrade tasks. Upgrade, backup, restore tasks. You can perform by vManager. So vManager is centralized device to do all tasks because it's available on GUI. Now one more thing. vSmart. Why we use vSmart? This controller help to maintain control plane. Which one plane? Control plane. BGP, how many students know? Gursimran, Douglas, BGP, you have any idea? BGP? Okay, BGP, in BGP, we are getting a root reflector. Any idea? Root reflector means? Gursimran? Yeah, root reflector propagate the root information whenever we are getting IBGP neighbors, not in EBGP, only IBGP. So vSmart, this controller work as a root reflector in SD-WAN fabric. This thing is clear? Now, one more point. This controller distribute updates on managed devices. all vanished devices use OMP protocol. OMP means over relay management protocol, OMP protocol. To form, we discuss this OMP, neighborship with vSmart. Which one protocol we are using, dear? OMP. One more thing, sorry. vSmart use OMP protocol exchange network information. One more key points. vSmart also help to OMP. Yes, we discuss OMP. No worry. OMP means, for example, this one is my vSmart, and this vSmart connected with for ISP, for example, and this ISP connected with your router, and this one is your branch. So we are getting one more controller, vManager. This one is vBond. Done? Now, so first, this vanished device connected with my vBond. vBond will authenticate and provide license. If authenticate, then also provide vManager, vSmart information. Then this router, if no, which one is vSmart? So this router will form with vSmart OMP neighborship. OMP neighborship. This OMP neighborship will help to carry which one information? Networks information. So only vSmart will help to vanish device with this protocol. If you are having multiple vSmart, for example, vSmart 1, vSmart 2. So both vSmart also use OMP protocol to form neighborship. And vSmart also map with vanish device, same neighborship. So in between vanish device, we are forming a single neighborship. But with vSmart to vSmart, we form full mesh OMP neighborship. But we need to use more than two vSmart. Then we can call full mesh topology. OMP only protocol to carry network information. Now, one more thing. vSmart also help to propagate control plane policies. If someone getting confusion in control plane policy, so control plane policy means if you want to manipulate your path, if you want to add tag number with root, if you want to set a best path mechanism, so we are using control plane. Now, one more feature, vSmart also help to propagate data plane policy. Those policy we discussed deep, and lab also we discussed. Data plane policy means if you want to load balancing, if you want to do any manipulation, if you want to interrupt any packet, so we are using. But this policy created by vManager but propagated by vSmart. So this controller will help. One more thing, vSmart available in which one form, dear? Which one form? A virtual form. Now one more thing. If network engineer perform cluster for vSmart, then we are getting active. So if one active goes down, so another with same. If you know OSPF 7-stage process, and what is the meaning of full state? Gursimran, Douglas, full state means we form neighborship, we successfully exchange database. Yes or no? So active means both are sitting into full state, for example. If one goes down, so another also having same database, na? So that is the reason active peering available in vSmart. Multiple things available. We follow some PPT also, but this one is short brief theory about the controllers. Now, one more thing we can add in vSmart. vSmart automatically run OMP protocol automatically. Clear? Now, one more thing. After vSmart, we are getting a next controller is third number. vBond. Why we use vBond? So basically, vBond help to do first thing. This controller manage orchestration plane. Which one, dear? Orchestration plane, or you can say for authentication purpose only. Authentication. Now, one more thing. This controller available in physical form, or you can use virtual form, no worry. Okay. Now, one more thing. This controller first authentication point in SD-WAN fabric. Sorry. One more thing. This controller always reachable with public IP or FQDN. I think Gursimran or Douglas, we already done a IP concept and FQDN. IP means, for example, 12.0.0.1. FQDN means, for example, viptela.com. So this one is fully qualified domain name. This one is public IP. So this one is example. But vBond always reachable with public IP or FQDN. This FQDN also publicly available. Clear? Now, this controller also having a whitelist. Okay, sometimes whitelist. This controller distribute, or you can say inform vManager or vSmart information. Clear? Now one more thing. One more thing you can write down. This controller help to add vanished devices. Only authenticated. Only authenticated. Or this one is virtual appliance, so we can use. Now, one more thing. How to onboarding your controllers. So onboarding controllers, it's very easy. So you can discuss controller hosting concept. So if you want to do controller hosting, so first we are getting a cloud concept. Which one? Cloud. Cloud means we can use AWS, we can use Azure cloud, we can use Microsoft. If this Microsoft, AWS, Azure, we can use Cisco cloud also. If you're having a Cisco cloud account, so you can deploy. If you're having private cloud, so we can also use, no issue. Private cloud also supported. Now, if you're having virtual machine, VMware Exercise. So this one also supported. But if you implement on your controllers on VMware Exercise, so must be having QCOW2 file. Which one, dear? QCOW2 file for controllers. Or if you want to deploy on VM, so one more file format available, OVF, Open Virtual Format, for controllers. So we can use both files in your lab. Now, one more thing. We need to discuss vanage, because control data and control management and authentication we done. Now, this vanage device separately work on data plane whenever we are forwarding data traffic. Now, this vanage device must be reachable with VBond. One more thing, this vanage device, if get authenticate from VBond, then vanage device form or use OMP protocol. Clear? Now, one more thing. If Be Smart apply policy, control plane or data plane, so we can get on my vanage device. Now, one more thing. This vanage device only maintain data plane. This vanage device managed by which one controllers? vManager. This vanage device control plane store on vSmart. Good, Simran. Do girls clear this thing? Verify. Okay. So I think you just need to go through this video, because we done 1 hour session, and then we again meet and again we discuss SD-WAN day 3. But in SD-WAN day 3, we discuss lots of theory. Okay. Because only 4 to 5 days we need to discuss about theory concept. Good, Simran? Do girls clear? Okay. You just need to share your mail IDs. Then I will provide the Google Drive link. So you can easily get your session videos, day 1 and day 2. So before coming next session, must be go through the video.